All right, hey Cameron. So, great golf swing. You're obviously an athlete, so this stuff should be pretty easy for you. Now, we looked at a few things. Your setup looks great. You look ready. You look athletic. You look ready to move. That's the biggest thing with setup is, you know, how do you set up to take a snap in football? How do you set up to play defense? It's still, but it's ready to move. So, great job with setup. In terms of the backswing, I want to give you a couple drills because I talked about what I saw in you was there was a sense that you kind of moved off it a little bit, and then your vision was kind of here, and then as you move 2 or 3 inches off the ball, it changes your perception of where the ball is, and it also makes it more difficult to get fully wound up, because if I'm moving laterally and turning, I can't turn as much as if I stay centered while I pivot. So that's the first thing I want. If you see, you know, great golf swings are really, as they get more and more refined, they stay really centered. So many of the greats talked about, you know, turning in a barrel or staying centered and balanced. So a couple things you can do for that. One drill I like is I'll put like a stick, or this deal holds my alignment rods, but I'll put that under the right edge of my foot, and I'll hit balls with it there. And what that allows is almost like that sort of pitcher's mound sensation on the right foot, so that you can feel how I'm winding up centered, but I still have life in this right leg because I need to propel the golf ball in that direction. So I'm creating leverage into this right hip. I'm trying to wind up around my spine and stay dead centered. So this will allow you to feel what that right leg is supposed to feel like at the top of the backswing in terms of leverage, because I have to support the golf club up here to move it where I want to move it through and out of impact. So you can hit balls with this under your right foot. Then, you know, you can hop in a mirror and spend some time paying attention in the mirror or just coiling around your spine. And I'm not restricting anything here. I'm just literally trying to wind my body up around my spine. So it look like that. So that my head doesn't move anything laterally. Because the head's, you know, at the top of the spine, the tailbone's the bottom of the spine. So my spine will be rounded at setup, and then you do a good job of moving from a flexed position in the spine or rounded to an extended position in the spine. I just think that if you moved less over here while you turned, it'd be easier for you to get that driver swing all the way up to parallel or even past parallel and give you a little more leverage up there. Then what we saw coming down, I think that if you can get in a little bit stronger position here, it's going to help your attack angle coming down into impact. Because what I saw out of you was coming down, good. This right wrist was still loaded, and then at the bottom of the arc, you fully uncocked that right wrist. And so if I fully uncock that right wrist, it'll cause the shaft that was here at setup to lift up or raise. So you lose some compression, you lose some speed, you lose some strength in that right wrist, because if this right wrist goes that way, then I'm adding loft. And so on that wedge swing, I think if you stay more centered and then don't let that right wrist go just yet, it would look more like that at impact. You'd have more compression in that right wrist. And it's easier if I don't uncock that wrist to return the shaft plane closer to where it was at setup. If I uncock it, it's going to stand everything up a little bit. Now, it's not wrong that your right wrist does that. It's just a very high trajectory sort of tendency. So it kicks everything up that way versus keeping everything flighted down and compressed. So the drill I like for that is it's sort of like a Zach Johnson deal. It's sort of like when you think of Zach Johnson's swing, how that right arm and that shaft stay in alignment through here. He doesn't let anything release through there. Part of it is because he has a really strong grip, and if a strong grip player releases it, it's going to go left. But the other part is he's just one of the most consistent players there is because he doesn't have any face rotation through the hit. So this drill is called the flying wedge drill, and all it is you hit some balls and you're trying to keep the feeling of the club head coming into impact here, bang. Okay, I want to feel like the club head stays outside my hands through here. So literally zero release. And you can definitely work on this around the greens. Short game wise, it's probably pretty simple to feel. But the drill looks like this. So if I just chip a ball here, I'm just keeping the club head outside my hands. And so what I'm allowing is my body rotation to bring the club around. I don't want body rotation bringing the club around and the hands flipping simultaneously, because then we're susceptible to pulls and hooks. I want the hands and arms to come back strong underneath my pecs, and then everything moves together through here. So that'd be a great drill. It would also allow you to get into the ground a little more. So what I'd like you to feel on those drills is just what's too steep feel like? What's almost like stuck in the ground feel like? Because if you can get into the ground more, you'll train this right wrist to load differently into impact. Because when you're bracing to hit the ground, the body pressurizes more because it knows I'm hitting the ground. Plus it's emotionally a little bit more aggressive versus kind of picking at it. So the flying wedge drill, hitting balls, almost too big of a divot, and feel when you get too steep, back it off a little bit. When you feel too shallow, get a little more steep. Spend some time hitting some balls that way. Now, sorry, there's a storm rolling in. It looks pretty cool. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention was at the finish of the golf swing, sorry, all kinds of things bugging me out here. Anyway, at the finish of the golf swing, it looked a little bit like this left foot kind of spun out on you. You're a little hung back on this right foot and weren't quite balanced at the finish. So I think if you're a little more centered going back, that's going to help you compress it into impact. If you start taking a little bit bigger divots, that's going to help stabilize that right wrist through and out of the strike. And then at the finish of the golf swing, the body's in rotation here, through here, but then that rotation gets absorbed to a stop at the finish. So think about that. I'm turning as hard as I can through here, but then it all stops and looks real pretty. I mean, think about like Rory's swing or Dustin. What causes that breaking is the thighs come together. So there's almost a feeling here like if I do it toward you, when I'm here, my thighs are like slammed together here. So that way, when I rotate and squeeze my thighs together, everything comes to a stop. So I take the rotation and slam it to a stop. It actually speeds up the golf club. So what I'd like you to feel is at the finish, spend some time not only attacking the ground more, but spend some time working on just getting to the finish feeling like this right foot is anchored in the ground, but at a 90-degree angle, and your thighs are together. And you feel just balanced here. Yeah, I'm on my left side, but I'm still balanced. I could stay here for a while. So the thighs come together to stick the finish will make it look real pretty. So again, I appreciate you sending those swings. I think if we can get you more centered, we'll get you attacking the ball differently. We get you attacking the ball differently, your hands and arms are going to do something different through impact. And then if we can get the thighs together at the finish, it'll be a home run. So let me know what you think about this, and we'll keep the dialogue open. I appreciate it.